In this lesson, we will be discussing the concept of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand measures the sensitivity of demand. How sensitive demand is to its factors. There are more than one factors of quantity demanded. Suppose this is quantity demanded for X. So quantity demanded for X depends on price of the X commodity. It depends on price of related commodities, income of the consumer, taste, and many other factors. These factors leave certain effect on quantity demanded. And quantity demanded is sensitive to change in price. Quantity demanded is sensitive to change in prices of related commodities. It is sensitive to change in income of the consumer. It is sensitive to change in the taste and preference of the consumer. So these sensitivities are also known as the elasticities. When we are studying the sensitivity of quantity demanded due to price, it is called price elasticity of demand, or it is the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded due to change in price. Likewise, we have different degrees of responsiveness due to all other factors. So we normally discuss three main types of elasticities. One, we call it EP, price elasticity of demand. Second, EM, income elasticity of demand. Number 3, EX dot Y, this is called cross elasticity of demand. When we are discussing these elasticities, we try to analyze from 4 different angles. Number 1, what is the type of elasticity? Number 2, what is the degree of elasticity? Number 3, the signs, means positive or negative. And number 4, rules to measure the degrees of elasticities. In our previous lesson, we have seen that elasticity in general terms, it has 3 degrees. Number 1, elasticity is equal to 1, elasticity is less than 1, and elasticity is greater than 1. In general terms, we can also identify the degrees of elasticity by looking at the shapes of demand curve. Suppose we have 3 types of elasticities. Equal to 1 when elasticity is less than 1, and when elasticity is greater than 1. If we are measuring quantities on x-axis and prices on y-axis, then the shape of demand curve can provide us a general idea about the degree of responsiveness. For example, when elasticity is equal to 1, so the stretch of demand curve will be equally divided towards both axes. When elasticity is less than 1, it means quantity demanded is less responsive to change in price. And when it is greater than 1, it means quantity demanded is more responsive towards the change in price. Here I am assuming the price as a factor. Sometimes we are measuring quantities on y-axis and prices on x-axis. So in this situation, these elasticities should be here, quantities on y-axis and prices are on x-axis. In this case, when elasticity is equal to 1, demand curve is showing the equal stretch towards both axes, and when it is less than 1, so the shape will be different than this shape, and when elasticity is greater than 1, stretch toward quantity axis is more than the stretch toward the price axis. So we have to be very careful when we are doing analysis about the variables and their axis. So the shapes, you can see, they behave entirely the opposite when we change the axis. This shape, this shows that elasticity is less than 1 when we are measuring prices on y-axis, and this shows elasticity is less than 1 when we are measuring prices on x-axis. The rule of thumb is that we have to focus towards the quantity axis. When elasticity is less than 1, so towards quantity axis, the stretch should be lesser, and when elasticity is greater than 1, towards the quantity axis, the stretch should be larger compared to the price axis. So in the next lesson, we will be discussing the price elasticity of demand. So that's all in this lesson. Thank you very much.